went through the legislature, was subject to various revisions as it moved through the legislature, and there are various exceptions to these requirements. Presently, in order to be subject to this requirement, the agency must maintain a regularly and routinely updated website, and they must also utilize high-speed internet connection. So it's my understanding from speaking with our clerk that the county's website is updated on a somewhat regular basis. It does use a high-speed internet connection, and therefore would be subject to the terms of the open meetings law as amended. As I read the law, with the exceptions that are included in this new law, basically the only documents which I believe the county would be required to post on its website, provided that it continuously maintains a regularly and routinely updated website on an high-speed internet connection, would be proposed resolutions, proposed laws, proposed rules, proposed regulations, or policies, or any amendments to those documents. Those are the only documents, the way I read the law, that would be required to be posted before a meeting. An individual, anyone may request ahead of time to inspect or obtain copies of documents which are scheduled to be discussed at a public meeting. But the clerk of the legislature is not required to post any of those documents. It would be totally voluntary. And when this was enacted, there were a number of exceptions. One of the things is there's an awful lot of discretion for the public body that is conducting the meeting. In addition, the law specifically states that no agency subject to the law shall be required to expend any additional monies in order to comply with the provisions of this law. One of the issues that you would have is if it's other than a proposed resolution, law, rule, regulation, or policy, the only other documents that would be posted on the website would be documents that are subject to disclosure under the Freedom of Information Law. There are many exceptions in the Freedom of Information Law for certain documents, and what it would require is basically if you're going to post on your website anything other than those things that I spoke about, essentially you'd have to have a predetermination as to whether any of those documents might be subject to an exception under the Freedom of Information Law before you post. So there would be quite a bit of time involved basically getting a predetermination as to whether a document is disclosable under the Freedom of Information Law or is not. I can tell you that in the 11 years that I've been doing Freedom of Information requests here, I think the first year we had probably between 25 and 30 FOIA requests come in. Last year I know we had over 100, and those FOIA requests take time not only of the clerk's office here, the county attorney's office, but also many department heads because they have to search for the records, and then those records are screened ahead of time to make certain that only documents which are disclosable are released to the public. Certain personally identifying information would have to be checked to make sure the person's home address or social security number or any other number of things such as proprietary information is not disclosed to the general public. So at this point, it would be my opinion, and I've informed our clerk that as long as the county continues to maintain a regularly and routinely updated website with a high-speed internet connection, that those proposed laws, resolutions, rules, regulations, and policies, any amendments thereto must be posted on the website as soon as practicable prior to the meeting. Nothing else is required to be posted.
Thank you.
And that's basically what the clerks have sent out like an email asking that question for the legislative boards, and that's basically what all of them are doing. Posting minutes, the agendas, proposed agendas of committee meetings and legislature meetings and the resolutions. And then after, like we do with our minutes, everything will go back on with the resolutions included.
Oh, yeah, right.
Once they're approved.
Thank you. Other questions? They go on stamp draft, right? They stamp
It's
draft.
preliminary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just have a question on the at basic committee meetings. I appreciate what Charlie said, that what has to go on. Things that are going to be discussed at a committee meeting, if they were deemed not to be confidential, reports. I mean, we have an agenda that comes out, and we're gonna, let's say for tonight as example, the sheriff's monthly report. Since there's an agenda item that would go, committee agendas would also get posted on there, would that happen? Yeah.
They're doing that now.
Right,
Yeah.
so if someone wanted to see the, as an example.
Specifics of that.
The sheriff's report, would it be possible for them to ask to do they have to do a FOIL to get it? Or would we automatically have it available, or, you know, the average citizen?
There would be a request made by a citizen to inspect those documents. You do the same procedure as you would under a FOIL, because the law itself speaks to two different categories of documents. One category is documents which are disclosable pursuant to the Freedom of Information Law. The other category is proposed, you know, resolutions, rules, policies, that sort of thing. And what the law says is that upon request, therefore, that those records shall be disclosed to, you know, any individual, any member of the public that requests them. The language is somewhat different with regard to the proposed rules, regulations. I mean, that is, I believe that to be automatic. All right, that is, but any other document then would have to be requested.
So if we know we're having a committee meeting, let's say we put a week's notice out there, and on the agenda it says discussing a certain report, a social services issues a report to us.
Right.
We get it now electronically.
Correct.
If a citizen saw that and was interested in seeing that report, then they have to do a FOIL to get it. So the likelihood of them getting it at the night that it's being discussed would not.
Well, they have to make a request to inspect the document. They would have to request that, correct.
Any other questions?
So when will it start?
It has started.
The resolutions are out there? I didn't
It
look
was
tonight. I
in
could.
a memo that I sent, when I sent your packet, I put it in the
Right.
memo that they would now be.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I went to the web today to look, where are they on the web? How do I find
Under
them?
meetings of the legislature,
Yeah, I
and
think
then
that-
there's documents
Yeah,
down
I
below.
was surprised I could find it.
What about making it,
What do you think, Rick?
could we put a blurb on, could we put a blurb on the front like we do blurbs, like today, to stop the mandates now? Kind of, and just put a blurb maybe for 3 months that says, look under meetings for the topics to be just something if they, because I couldn't find it.
They'd have to
Would it be just a
go to
little
the IT
blurb that,
For that?
It's hard to do that.
We could
just,
look in
just
ahead,
for a
see the
test,
IT if
just for a
they'll
test?
try
and-
it.
I
yeah,
can't
just-
see what I couldn't.
Just to see if, can you tell how many hits you get on things like that? To see if the people are even accessing
Looking
it?
at,
It's possible.
possible.
I'm not to set up
We don't
something
look
to
at
counter, I
these
just
things. I don't
curious.
Anybody's even looking at it.
We do it on some things. you can do it.
Okay. Okay, we'll mention it to IT.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted just to run by is that we did have an inquire on the, ID cards, that Sylvia's doing, and I just wanted to give you an update. She is actually speaking tonight at Veterans Committee at the American Legion to give a presentation to them, what she's done, where they are right now, and when it's gonna be ready in the foreseeable future. She's hoping, possibly by the end of the month, beginning of next month. She's got letters ready to go out to the businessmen, and she's actually talked to a few of them on her own, so I just wanted to let the public know that they are working on it, and we're very close to it. Is there any other business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Bob?
Do you need
Oh.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
you don't need a motion for the info?
No, I don't think so, we don't need a motion for that.
No.
We'll just have them, go
We'll make
ahead.
a note, Jim, that that's where we're headed.
Alright.
Okay, Bob Hyde, motion to adjourn, second, by Ray Johnson. All those in favor?
Alright.
Opposed? Lenny is next.